Hey, good morning. Welcome. This is Janine Bolon with Open Friday Coffee. This in the mail today, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. Forgive me. I know you can read on your own, but just in case it's a little small. Okay, this thank you letter is long overdue. The cards you send us each year are always so wonderful, and we proudly hang them on our fridge. But last year's card in particular brought me some light when I was going through a dark season of life. I was newly pregnant. Tony was in the field for several months and we couldn't have any contact. And I wasn't speaking with my family at the time. I was just feeling depressed and alone. And I remember opening your letter and feeling seen for a moment. And I remembered that we have such amazing people in our corner from all over. I've wanted to share this with you for so long, but we've just been in survival mode for a while. Hope you know we love you guys. And hopefully next time we're in Longmont, we can meet up. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. The reason that I am sharing this with all of you is because we were about ready to move into a time where it's a season of challenge for people regarding their mental health. Right now, we're getting ready to move into that lovely February month. Now, for those of you who were born in January, February, you kind of thrive during this time of year. There's a lot of studies that have been done that depending upon what season you were born in, that's the season that you really thrive in. It's interesting. It's interesting research. But what I wanted to share with you is not everybody does really well in February. And so I was sharing that letter with you because it is one of those things that we have no idea how we are inspiring or helping others. So she was talking to me, and I can honestly let you know that I have only met this woman twice. And the rest of the time, I've just been sending her cards, and I've been sending her cards with absolutely no communication back from her. This is the first time in 3 years that I've heard from this woman. And so for her to reach out in this way, so heartfelt with this handwritten card telling me that it was one of those things I was like, wow, it really just blew me away because I opened the letter yesterday and I read it. Yes, I'm 2 months behind in my holiday correspondence. I literally get bins from the post office for the letters. And so it takes me time to get through the cards, but I open every single one. Even when I have my assistant with me, she's opening them up and reading them to me as I'm opening others. So it's one of those things that no matter if you send me a card in the mail, I make sure I read every single card that comes in because you've taken the time to do that. So that was one of the cards that I received. And so I thought for today with Open Friday Coffee that we would still do the 1 minute tips that everybody came with, and we'll still ask you guys, what is the thing you're challenged by? How can we help you? But the last thing I really want to kind of focus on is how can we inspire others? Not an active way, but what is it that you do that is just your normal mode of operating that somebody has complimented you on? Here in Open Friday Coffee, we have a tendency to really focus on each other and everything. But tell us, where did you get an attaboy that was surprising to you? And for me, the number of attaboys I get for sending cards is phenomenal. It blew me away because sending cards is something I just enjoy doing. It's a oh, thank you, Crystal. It's just a thing I enjoy. It's not because I want anything special or anything like that. It's like I enjoy it. But I spend $250 a month in my card sending because it's that important to me. And some people will say, so for your company, what is your marketing budget? And I go, $250 a month. And they're like, oh, what, Google ads? I'm like, no, sending cards. Thank you, Rich. Yes, I send cards. And if you join Open Friday Coffee with us, you will be a recipient of those cards when you give me your address. So for those of you that have them handy, and I know not everybody does, if you happen to have the You're on Mute card, I was going to take a few minutes. Thank you, everybody that has it. Dig, dig, dig. I see people digging. Show it up when you can, Crystal. Crystal, I know you've got one. It's okay. the reason I know, the reason that I am talking about these is I give these for free. You don't have to be a part of my program. You don't have to be a part of anything that I do. I send them out for free because I absolutely enjoy being able to share card sending with you. It's always so much fun to receive a card in the mail that isn't a bill, and it's mail that comes from a human being, flesh and blood, that actually typed out your address and made sure that you got that card. So it's that high tech, high touch. And Peter Drucker back in, gosh, it had to have been the early 90s, was talking about future shock and where they saw the future going. And this was back before the World Wide Web was really kicking into high gear. And he talked about no matter how affluent we become as a people with technology, the person that can do high tech and high touch will stand far and away above others. And so as a solopreneur or as an entrepreneur, I want to remind you that how you talk to people, how you handle yourself, and how you let them know that they matter is important. Now, if you want some statistics on that, yes, I am an analytical biochemist by training. So I do have analytics. It's a part of my hardwiring. And that is 67% of clients who leave your field of influence feel like they don't matter. And we all know how hard we work to attract clients. Just to let you know, I've recently been contracted on I have a couple of contracts that are now out. And one of the things that's interesting is I'm working for these other companies is that they haven't reached out to their standard clients. Like these are clients that pay them a monthly fee for things. They have not reached out to their clients just to say, hey, how are you doing? Is there anything we can do to help you with XYZ service? Ever. And people wonder why it's so expensive to run a business. So just in the short, I've been doing this since August with 2 of these companies. And with me just going through and doing what I do, which is emailing them a very personalized letter. Hi, so-and-so. Thank you so much for having us help you with XYZ product and service. And I was looking at your account and I see blah, blah, blah. I'd give them 3 markers or 3 things that I saw from their account. And I'm here to assist you in any way feasible. How are you doing? And what are your big, audacious goals for 2024? Because all of these people are business owners. And I hit send. I'm Janine Bolon. I'm here to help you. The amount of response back has increased the revenue of these companies by 20%. And this is with Janine just sending emails, meeting with people, telling them about additional packages. So I'm a one-person marketing team for these companies. So I just wanted to let you know what clients need to know that you care about them. So this is my challenge to you. And that is for the month of February, I would like you to reach out to all your past clients, whether they're still paying you or not. And if you don't have clients because you're just starting a new company or you're totally pivoting in a different direction, reach out to friends and family, go through your contact list. And if you can't remember somebody, because you're like Janine and you have over 5,000 people in your contact list, let them know that you care about them and give them a general, hey, I care about you. I don't know what you're going through right now. We haven't connected the way I would have appreciated. How can I help you? Or when can we get on a phone call? And that will start bringing sales in more than anything else because it's high tech, but it's high touch because you're going to talk to only that specific person. Now, I do have templates that I run. But as I'm looking at each person and trying to figure out how I know them, or I'm looking at their account, I add in those elements. So that's my challenge to you in February. Okay, so enough of Janine talking about that. We're going to be talking a lot about this through the month of February and helping people out. So I'm going to kind of go around the horn. Luca, thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to have you with us. You can turn on your video. And I'm going to let you go first because I haven't met you yet. And then I'll let the rest of these crazy brain trust members do what they do. How can I help you today, Luca? What's up?
First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm 20. I work at a gym at the front desk, and I met Rich at that gym, and I've spoken to him a lot. Also in general about my goals and sort of being very interested in entrepreneurship and business. And, obviously I initially went into computer science. That was my interest, but over time it sort of evolved more into an interest for business. And Rich, like, he speaks very highly of you.
Oh, thank you,
So
Rich.
he recommended that I join these Zoom meetings and sort of learn from all of you.
Okay.
Well, especially you, but
No,
I'm
no,
here
all
just
of
to
you.
learn.
Yeah. This, believe it or not, Open Friday Coffee, this is what I call my brain trust. I'm very possessive of my community in this way. Possessive in the sense of I've attracted amazing people, and I get possessive in the sense of I get very irritated if people abuse my people. That will mark you on the do not call list really quick with me. As soon as I find out people are not playing kind or fair, they get axed very quickly from the community. But yeah, please learn from the brain trust. There is hundreds of years of experience sitting here in this room. I don't care if we only have 3 or if we have only a small 20. Sometimes it depends. It kind of is like breathing. Sometimes we have a bunch of people, sometimes few. It's up to what's going on. But if you want to just sit back and listen for a bit, you'll get some 1-minute tips from everybody that's coming on. And I would very much love to receive a 1-minute tip from you, because you do have intellectual property in between your ears, something that to you is falling off a log easy is novel to someone else because of the way our society has diversified into so many different elements. Just because you use Discord to chat with your siblings doesn't mean anybody has another person on this will go, what's Discord? Right? Because, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have raised myself on Discord. I've received more information while I was gaming from some 50-year-old in Pakistan, and you don't even know what it is, right? These are the things that are valuable. Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, just pop up your digital hand or raise your hand and we'll call on you. All right. Thank you for being here. Cool. All right.
Thank you.
You betcha. Okay. So for starters, Matt, our main Roseman, talk to us about our 1-minute tech tip for today, please.
All right, I have an announcement to make. Pugsy Phil did not see his shadow, so he really was grounded. So
and it just gets better than from here, people. Dun, dun, go.
Not really.
I'm also available for weddings, birthdays, and bar mitzvahs. I was there for my own bar mitzvah. So,
And at Brist's, he works for tips. Sorry.
Exactly. Well, I was only 7 days old. You know, I wouldn't know about that. So anyway, it's true. I was. So funny. There's a lot of things going on. In case you've been living under a rock and not Dwayne again, the Apple Vision Pro came out. Very compelling piece of virtual reality technology. To afford the thing, you'll have to sell your firstborn. So it's nice knowing you, Sean. It's about $3,500, and it's very compelling, but they're very much a first generation device. 600 apps, by the way. Elon Musk, you probably know that guy. Supposedly, he has implanted a computer chip in a human to control your phones and your computers. All I can say is, where's Arnold saying, "Come with me if you want to live"? So he's also moving Tesla over to Texas because of litigation against him in California. So every time you buy a Tesla, you'll get a sustainable, rechargeable cow like this one here. And by the way, not to scale. So also, speaking of my friend there's a restaurant in Pasadena, California that now uses AI robots to cook the hamburgers and to prepare the fries. There'll also be workers there, humans, in terms of the toppings. But in case you have a problem, don't have a cow, because neither will the robots either. And lastly, I will say that I have something new to announce. There's instead of this week being a Hebrew haha, I am coming out with a tech tongue teaser. So check this one out. So, guys, ready?
We're ready.
There are 30 cows in a field, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
Oh.
Mike, you are muted, dude.
We still can't hear you, Mike. Yep, I don't know what's going on with you.
All right, I'm gonna put in the chat because I stumped everybody, which is awesome. So I'm gonna put in the chat. If you find the answer, let me know. Mike, he knows it. He thinks he knows it, but he can't say it.
So guess what? In the chat, back
in
to Discord for you, dude. Back to your teenage years. Chat. Okay. No, we still can't hear you, Mike. When you finally, so what I recommend, Mike, is that you drop off of Zoom and come back on. That seems to always fix whatever audio issues there are. So we'll see you in a moment.
Kind of ironic for a keynote speaker, huh?
Well, and he is, and he's very good at his job. That's the thing that cracks me up, is that it's the one person who actually has all the training and speaking isn't the one that's able to talk on Open Friday Coffee. Holy cow. Okay. All right. So there we go. And we had a question from Nancy Fields. Nancy, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, I had a question. In the last week, 2 of my website customers have reached out to me and asked me if they could put a podcast link onto their website. And I thought, boy, I would really like to do more and drive more traffic. And so I was wondering what do you feel is the best way for podcast guests to promote their podcasts? And then also, is there a window of opportunity that's critical when somebody is promoting a podcast that they have been on as a guest?
Okay. For me, and we're going to go with my opinion first, because Google is changing a lot of the things that it does. So you want to talk to, after Google's done with its February 1st reinitial, you know how we're all having to go through all of this, right? But you have the book, Author Podcasting, How to Be a Standout Guest While Taking Your Book on Virtual Tour. Yep. Thank you very much, Nancy. There is a chapter in there where I talk about how to support your podcast host, and you can go through it, and what I can do is look it up and get it to you. But the primary thing you want to do is every time that you're a guest, you definitely want to create a blog post, and you want to put on your blog that you were a special guest on so-and-so's podcast, talk about your experience a little bit, and do the show notes, which every podcaster has. And then in return, you ask the podcaster is going to have you up on their blog. In return, you turn back around and say, hey, let's help each other's SEO. I would love to have an article up on your show if that's agreeable to you. And then ask them to write an article and put it on yours. And so that way you get SEO on 4 different postings, cross-linking, rather than just the podcast itself. Does it have a shelf life? Not really. It's pretty much evergreen as long as the information that you're talking about is going to handle. So like I was teaching people about debt-free living. I didn't teach anything new that hadn't been taught before when it came to the 60-40 principle and all that. I just repackaged it in a different framework for a lot of people. It doesn't matter. It's an evergreen topic. It's not going to change that much. And I have podcasts where podcasters are just now sending me the episodes because it's coming up on their sites, and we recorded them over 9 months ago. So to me, there is no shelf life to answer that part of your question. What can a guest do? There's a lot of guests can do. People just forget to reach out to their podcaster. Now, realize podcasters are very busy. They're like all the rest of us. But the thing is if you keep letting them know you're interested in supporting them and helping them, they will actually be able to see on their dashboard spikes because you are also sending traffic to their site. So I always get a yes from people. I think one podcaster said no because he had a very specific project he was working on, and I would have actually detracted from that by sending traffic from my site to him. And so he was after a very specific niche. So hope that answers your question. Cool. Anything else? No, you're good? Okay, just want to make sure. All right, so we're going to go around the horn. So we're going to start with Crystal, and then we'll go with Mike, and then with Rich, and then Nancy. So Crystal, you came on just a few minutes late, and what we were talking about in February is that it can be a very challenging time for a lot of people, because unless you're born in like December, January, February, and winter isn't necessarily your happy place, And for those of you who are under cloud cover or up in the upper latitudes, sunlight is not your friend right now. So what can you give us as far as a tip today?
Well, first of all, Janine, thank you for blessing this area that I live in with rain. This has been the rainiest rainy season I've experienced here.
Don't ask me to pray for rain unless you want it.
It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. So I'm here today because outside is raining. But I do have a simple tip. So, everybody comes to like therapy because they want to change their life. People find me because they want to change, they want to heal. And the simplest statement that has been most life-changing for me is love heals. So learning to love yourself, finding other people who can show you love. Yeah. Love heals, but joy transforms. Joy transforms your life. So if you're stuck inside, or if you're feeling, the winter blues, rainy blues, right? Find something that just brings you joy, whatever. I love coming to this because we laugh more in this hour than I think any other meeting I attend during the week, right? But finding things that just bring joy, general joy. Find yourself laughing. Find something to crack yourself up. Listen to some of the Hebrew hotties, haha moments, right? Like find things that make you laugh, and that will transform your life at any given moment.
Okay. And thank you so much. And I'll pay you your $15 later because you tie in perfectly to something else I'm going to bring in. For those
Wait
of
a
you who may
minute.
not know,
I only get $5 when I say something nice to you.
It's Maui. It's more expensive.
it's an island and the bridge is out.
The bridge is out. I had somebody ask me if I can drive across the islands on a bridge, and I was like, nope, we are a very unique island system, no bridge.
No bridge. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to share with you, lovely people, when it comes to doing things that are joy-filled, let me pop this up and share it with everyone. Okay, and one of the things I wanted to share with you is I was having a blast creating a lead magnet for my writing program. And somebody told me, well, Janine, the things that really sell are sex and greed. And so I got to thinking about things and I thought, hey, I know what I'll call this lead magnet: polishing nipples, nursing your story to publication in 5 minutes a day. And I got very excited. I never have had more fun putting together an 8-page ebook and guide than I did I laughed, I giggled, I had a great time as I was using these metaphors and having a wonderful time. I went to my mentor on this and he said, Janine, why don't you try something along these lines, which is the polish and publish, navigating your way from draft to done in just 5 minutes a day. And I went, oh, yeah, I just wasn't as happy with that one. But you know me, I'm an analytical biochemist by training, so it's all about the numbers. And I posted it online to 100 readers. And I asked them, which one do you like better? And please tell me why. And out of the 100 readers, 77% said they liked polish and publish, and only 23% said that they liked polishing nipples. And so I just wanted to let you know, I have never had more fun than building that lead magnet. And yet I have to follow the numbers and actually go with the other one for my site. Why? Because I do want to make money. I do not want to alienate my audience. But we hear all the time about you got to be authentic. You got to be authentic. When I'm my true, authentic self, my goofy clown, having a great time, laughing, giggling, all that kind of stuff, people don't want to join that party. They do not want to be a part of that. So I am going to go with the more conservative lead magnet, and then I'll scare them later. Go ahead, Sean. How can I help you?
I think given the title of those two like ebooks, it's just a sign that 77% of people are lying to themselves, hook, line, and sinker, truth be told. I think that's what's going on here. There's a lot of lying going on.
but this is one of those things. It's like, okay, so this was the story. I was online at 5 a.m. because I have a 5 a.m. early bird writers group. Okay. So yes, we crazy people get up at 5 a.m. and see what we can do. And so while we were talking, I say, I need to come up with a lead magnet. I'm looking for a catchy title, yada, yada, yada. And what was interesting was one of them goes, well, only sex and greed operate. Hi, Marc. Great to have the Great North with us. You're representing. Thank you. And anyway, what was interesting was only sex and greed. Well, this guy works at a casino. So he sees that all the time. He helps us with our marketing like you wouldn't believe. He's like, no, you don't want to do that, blah, 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 because he's got analytics from the casino. So he kind of knows a thing or two about shiny object syndrome. Anyway, so as we're sitting there laughing and talking about it all, I was like, well, I don't know how do you make writing a book sexy? And then the next thing I know, I'm thinking about my uncle. He used to have an adult strip club and a bookstore combined, and how at age 11, I would be run in there and people would be practicing on the poles, and they were the most beautiful women I had ever seen in my life. And as an 11-year-old, I was looking at the little pasties they had, and I went, ooh, those are beautiful. And all of that. So that's where the polishing nipples came from. I'm like, well, maybe I can make it sexy this way. And so when you start telling your story, it makes sense in your own head. But as you start telling your story, you realize, how many 11-year-olds are taking it to an adult strip club and then ushered to the back really quickly because the show's about to start? And so anyway, that was one of those things where you have a moment realizing, I don't think I had what would be considered a traditional upbringing. Yeah, none of us have, but I just thought I'd share that little bit with you. So being authentic. I try to be authentic, but people won't buy. That's the question that I am going to be posting people. I try to be authentic, be my authentic self, but it won't work according to the way the marketing engine has worked. So how do I do that, Janine? I actually hear that from people and I go, that's where you run the analytics. That's where you run the analytics, because you want to bring people into your world without scaring them first, which I am very good at doing. It's scary, kind of scaring people with what I do. But then after you've brought them in, and it's like a lobster, as they get to know you more and more, you can crank up to that authenticity button. And we hear about being authentic so much. But one of the things that's so important is every single person in this room has a message that they want to give others. But if you can't get them to even walk into your room with your lead magnet, then you can't get that message out there. So there's this balancing act that you're doing, or trying to harmonize the thing. So anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing other people's thoughts on that. And thank you, Crystal, for sharing that with us. Marc, thank you for coming in. It's lovely to see you. And we'll kind of fill you in on what we're doing. And I think, Mike, you were supposed to go next, weren't you, to give us your 1-minute tip?
How's my audio now?
It's beautiful. Yay. The professional and certified speaker is in the house and the audio is working. It's okay. He's used to this. It happens all the time as a keynote speaker, right?
The way it is. First, I want to give you my 5-second tip. Cows are herbivores. But as for your speaking tip, I've been hearing this statistic way too often. I want to debunk this myth about speaking. This idea that public speaking is scarier than death. If you have the right mindset, everything is scarier than death. But to just bring this a little less existential and make a little more existential here. Okay, public speaking is not scarier than dying. It is not the scary. It does. Stage fright is real, but cotton mouth and an elevated heart rate should not dissuade you from doing what we do. Speakers and coaches want to use that statistic just to scare you away to make themselves more relevant. If you think that speaking is scarier than death, do a bungee jump off of a helicopter and tell me, wow, sure glad I'm not back at the office giving a sales report, because that would be scary. So people come up with this thing. Studies have not shown that. Nobody has ever conducted a study to show that. If they have, I really hope they didn't use any federal grant money to conduct that study. It's all, okay, everything has an inconvenience to it. So the fact that speaking is a little scary, stage fright, being nervous is the best thing about public speaking. Think of how many people have no reason to be nervous about anything at all. So when that stage fright comes in, the heart rate goes up. That's when you should feel most alive. That being said, I was not nervous in saying that. A little nervous when I found out my microphone didn't work. I was more nervous about not speaking than nervous about speaking. Speaking of speaking, Luca, I don't know if you saw this. I tried to post it in the chat before I left. My website is all about speaking and leadership in the fitness industry. So as you sit at that desk and you watch those trainers tell the new clients, yeah, basically, we're going to do sit-ups and bicep curls today. This will give you an advantage as a fly on the wall. So if you choose to go into that industry as a professional, you will have a leg up because your competition doesn't do what is on this website. As for my ask, I'm also going to put one article from my blog here. And what my ask is to get on my mailing list. Real simply, if you enjoy these 1-minute tips and the fact that cows are herbivores, and see, Matt knows what that means. And he's like, oh, that.
Well, don't have a cow over this because otherwise it'd be utterly ridiculous.
Oh, I get it.
Dun. Okay,
Yeah,
so
on the
Mike,
other hand, as
Mike,
we say in New York, on the other hand, to check out the post, get on the mailing list, and once a week you'll get some fitness and business insights.
okay. But what I would like you to chat about is the Toastmasters competition that you're coming up for, because I know you want people to be on your list, and I know you're list building and everything, but you have this competition that's coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Of course, Toastmasters has the International Speech Contest every year. It begins at the club level, then to the area, then division, district, then the regional quarterfinals is done just by voting on previous contests. Then comes the international semifinals, which is in Anaheim, California this year at the International Convention. And my goal, obviously my goal is higher. Once I get there, I can begin the Victory Train, which is a 30-day rail pass on Amtrak to see the real America. No theme parks, no hiding out in the suburbs, no shopping malls. The real America via Amtrak.
Okay. Yeah, excuse me. So the reason I'm cutting you off is because this is what I have in mind for you. Whether you want to do it or not is up to you. But what I have in mind for you, my friend, is find out on that rail pass where people are located so that you can ask Mike to come speak to your community. I mean, this is a rare opportunity we have as the Brain Trust to have Mike in our communities talking, because he's actually going to be on that rail pass. And one of the neat things is he can go anywhere in the US, but he's only allowed 5 stops. He's only allowed 5 on-offs throughout there. So, 10, you're allowed 10. Okay. I was looking it up online and Amtrak told me 5. So obviously I was looking at the wrong one. Okay. So 10, he's only allowed 10 stops. So the thing is, if you get on there and then have him speak to your group, you're helping him out, and he doesn't get to the US very often because he hangs out in Peru. So kind of a fun place to hang out, right? So when he does get to the US, we like to support him. So if you go ahead and get on his emailing list, but we definitely want you to invite him to his place. And we're so sorry that Maui is not connected to the Amtrak.
I talked about Hawaii the other day. Check out my LinkedIn post from Tuesday. I talk about Hawaii and all about Huna, which is in this book here. But anyway.
Okay. So
I will say, I've already passed the first 2 levels. I won the club. I won the area. Next one's division. It's live in Florida.
Live in Florida. Okay. So we will chat with you soon. And thank you very much for sharing with us what's cooking with that. And Luca, definitely give the man a look-see, because Mike was a fit presenter for, years before he decided to go after the Toastmasters International. So Marc, hi, great to have you with us, dear one. And what we were talking about today with it being February is inspiring others, because some people really struggle in the month of February, and stuff that is super easy for us sometimes is just overwhelming to others. And so it's helpful to have somebody like us help them through it. So what's cooking in your world, and what is your 1-minute tip for today?
Well, thank you for having me, Janine, again. I like what you just said about being authentic. What does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is that when you say authentic, where were you before? Were you authentic?
Mm-hmm.
Are you true to yourself? Or and so just keep that in mind, is that when you say things like being authentic, and everybody's using the name, everybody's going in, it's a buzzword, be authentic, do your stuff. But in reality, it's just you being you. Because when you put the word to it, there's an association attached to it. So just be careful. There's always that duality.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, is that just be aware of the words that you're saying and how that's resonating with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my tip for the day.
And always do A/B testing. I'm sorry, I'm gonna drive that train because it's so funny to me. But thank you so much, Marc. It's lovely having you. And do you have any challenges, or do you have a goal that you're trying to reach today in 2024 you want to share with us today?
What I'm doing right now is that there's a lot of people coming into my space. And you get a lot of people that want to be part of the space. So, and I was looking at for our publicity and the way that we want to show the world about Reset It. And there's a lot of ideas, there's a lot of ways of doing it, but and what I'm seeing, it doesn't really fit into what I want to do with the Reset It program. So I'm just taking a look at everything and see how I want to do it. So it's a fun place to be, really.
And I'm going to bring this back up again because I had to go through it yesterday. After I got the results back on my lead magnet, I had to deal with the little inner child that says, but I want to do it my way. And really, I was seeing where my readers actually need something different from me. So I just throw that out there for what it's worth, Marc. You know, for what it's worth.
Definitely. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of information, there's a lot of stuff going around, and you've got to find your way of getting that information and putting that in a melting pot and see what really sticks with you first. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying in reality.
Perfect. Thank you. I love it when you clarify. I love it. It helps me out. So, okay, our man Rich, what's happening today? What's going on? What's the tip?
Morning, everybody. First off, Washington Square Park in the evening. They just light up the arches in a really cool way. So just so you have a sense of what's behind me. First of all, when I got the PDF about the polishing your nipples, it was as if a revelation, like a whole nother side of you opened up to me. And I thought, oh my God, we are going to have so much fun with this.
Yes. That's phase 2. Phase 1, we don't want to scare the straights yet.
So we're going to play with this. And I have a lot of thoughts about this. But that being said, analytics being what they are.
Yes.
All right. So folks, I like to start off with on this date in history, as you know. And now, for those of you who are not airplane geeks, the 727, Boeing 727, was a radical design that came out on, it was first flown on this date in 1959. Now, what makes it radical is that before this, all the engines were hung off of the wings. The 727 had 3 engines, but all based on in the rear. So this was a whole different type of a airplane design, very radical. Boeing was certainly on the cutting edge at that point. 20 years ago today, Facebook was launched, folks. 20 years ago today. How about that? Now, let's move forward. Branding failures, branding boom booms. Who did Facebook, who got their lunch eaten by Facebook? Remember MySpace? MySpace.
I had an account.
You know, it was like Betamax and VCR, you know, like which was the one, you know, and MySpace, they just couldn't cut it. Facebook had it all over it, and here they are now. Kodak. Who remembers Kodak? Kodak was the 20th century domineer powerhouse in film. and film cameras. Digital age hit, call it the change of century. Kodak did not keep up. Kodak, and you think to yourself, when's the last time Kodak? Huh, that sounds so old. And last about not keeping up, BlackBerry. Once the touch screen came out, BlackBerry was finished because they didn't adapt. So folks, it's all about keeping up with it, changing as the currents, as the tides flow and all that. Because unlike the what is the weeping willow that bends with the wind, the mighty oak will break and fall. So you must adapt.
Thank you very much, Rich. I appreciate it. Do you have any challenges that you have this week that you want to bring to the Brain Trust or anything like that?
No, I'm cranking, man. I got like a ton of work that just got dumped onto me, and I love when companies update their logos and have catalogs of stuff, because instead of reshooting everything, they send stuff like that to me to put their new logo, to take off the old logo and put their new logo on. And so I've been in like Photoshop land geeking out all week.
Fabulous. I'm glad to hear that. It's the typical thing with a entrepreneur, right? Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to make my bills. I don't have enough clients. Oh my gosh, I've got so many clients. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to do all the work. There we are. Okay, little tip you may not know about the 727. And that is, because I am an airplane buff, but a little tip about the 727. I build my business model based on the way they built the airplane. And that is, they did not start building the airplane until JPL said, yes, we will hire you. So they were running around on one of those people movers that you use to get on board the old airplanes, from the tarmac up, whatever those elevators are called, the stairs. They were on one of those with the guidance system of the 727. And JPL said, yes, we'll be glad to hire you to build the airplane. And 727, McDonnell Douglas said, only if you provide the jets. And so they had this standoff waiting to see who was going to start building first. And so they committed on a handshake a $250 million contract. And that is the beauty of the 727.
I never knew. Never knew. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. This is Janine's brain on drugs. No, I'm just kidding.
So for those Boeings, were the parts falling off too?
What was that?
Well, were the parts falling off? Because wasn't there a Boeing?
No.
No.
That only since they've gotten much bigger and better.
Yeah, this was old school. This was back in the 60s, I think 60s, 70s. But anyway, so how do I run my business model that way? It is, you don't start building the product until somebody has purchased it. All right. And it was that story that really solidified it for me. And that's for a lot of my entrepreneurs and stuff. They will spend years building out a product that nobody wants. And I'm like, you wait until somebody makes that first purchase, and then you have proof of concept. And so you sell it before you build it. You show prototypes. That's like the lead magnet I just showed you guys. It was just the cover. I don't have the other 8 pages yet. Is it going to go up? Yeah, it's going to go up, and I'm going to start bringing people on board while I'm building out the other 8 pages, because it's an amalgamation of this book, right? So it's not like I'm fleecing people, like I'm asking them to invest in me and I'm not building it. It's more like, I just want to make sure that what I'm building, people actually want. And to keep yourself from investing $15,000 and 12 months of your time and not having a product no one buys. This is why you build after purchase. Okay. And to talk about authenticity, this is where people know I'm very authentic. And that is, I'm like, it's going to cost you $37 a month for this program. Oh, and by the way, I only have lesson 1 built, because I want you to take lesson 1, tell me about what else you want to learn from me, and I'll build out the rest. and people buy, knowing that they are creating the program. So that's where authenticity, for me, that's what it means. It means being very upfront with people about, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing, $37 a month, and you can be a part of the party. Yes, Sean, did you have something you wanted to chat with us about? Okay. All right. So with all that being said, we now bring up Nancy Fields, who is our lovely SEO expert. And if you need a website done, she can help you. But go ahead, Nancy, talk to us about your tip today.
Well, first of all, I can't believe it's been 20 years since Facebook, because 20 years ago, I was in an investment club, and I had done my research, and the person that I followed said that Facebook was worth $17 and some change. And these women got so excited, they chased it way up to 45. And then I remember a few meetings later sitting around, oh, it's gone down. And what did it go down to eventually before it like started going crazy up again? $17 and change. So I can't, in 20 years, amazing. But you know what I want to share today was a tech tip on, it's so easy to find out what pages that people like on your website. And the thing is, it was also such an eye-opener for me when I first did this. And you go to Google Search Console and you put in your website address, and then you put in, on the left-hand side is a thing called pages. You put on pages, and instantly up comes your top pages, and you know how many people visited and who clicked on it. And you know, you do want to click, and that tells you that someone actually clicked on your free offer or clicked on the link to go somewhere else. So yeah. I'm telling you, if you haven't done it, you're going to say, I can't believe they liked that article and they didn't like this other one. So have fun.
And I can attest to that, having run 15 different websites in my business over the last 9 years. And I was always looking at what articles did best. And the ones that I just threw together in a matter of 7 minutes or less are the biggest ones. And the ones I agonized over and tried to make sure the content was good and I was really putting effort and time and energy into it were the lowest running ones. And I'm like, this is where I'm like, what's the point? Why am I working so hard? But I think it's through the hard work that we're able to get the inspiration sometimes for the content that does very well. But I just wanted to let you know, that's been my experience. I'm like, and so Nancy's totally right. They like that one of all the ones. I can't believe it. Okay, so have we got around to everybody with their tech tip except for Sean and then Luca? And so Sean, if you don't mind going and giving us a 1 minute tip, please.
All righty. My 1 minute tip today is more on the mental health side of things, because that's been a lot of what's been going on. I've had both work pick up and I just started college again. So college classes are also on the up and up. My 1 minute tip is make time for yourself. I've had a couple of assignments this week where between everything going on, I was kind of running to very small window to complete assignments before they were due. And even with all that, I was still making sure to give myself like a half hour to an hour off. So when I would get home from taking classes, I would take an hour just to do whatever, try to let the brain defuse, and then just work on assignments after that. And yeah, you're not going to lie. I had a lab where I didn't finish the last couple of questions. Not going to lie. Yeah, turned it in. A couple questions shy of being full, but you know what? Got it in. So all said and done. That's my tip for the day, is just always make sure to schedule just little segments of time, because otherwise you're going to lose your mind.
And this from my perfectionist son. That's what I wanted to share.
It hurts so much. It hurts so much.
It hurt him so bad to send in that lab with 2 questions. It was like, I don't know which part of the anxiety was worth the fact that he needed to get it done, or it was just something else. So anyway, I just wanted to say bravo. Progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. Turning in the homework is better. Yes, well done.
It was the intro lab too, so it was like not even about what we were covering in class. It was like basic unit conversions and such, and for some reason it was just not clicking that day.
It was not clicking that day. It wasn't working. Thank you very much, Luca. So that's kind of the insanity that is Open Friday Coffee. We all sit around. If people have an ask, or if they're working on a project or something, or having a challenge, they'll ask questions. But do you have a tip you want to share with us today?
I mean, I guess something that I've not always done, but I guess since I was like 15 or so, I read this somewhere, and it was basically the idea of having like counting from 5 to 1 or 3 to 1 before there's something that you don't want to do. And then as soon as you reach that number, like the end number, you just go ahead and do it. And I've done the same thing. I mean, Mike obviously does presentations. That's something that I do before presentations, because I feel like once that period is over, where you have those 3 seconds, you sort of are in like a new state of mind. It's like those 3 seconds are preparing you, and then you're just thrown in the deep end. You have to deal with it no matter what. So I guess that's like a tip I thought of, but if you can incorporate that and it works for you.
That's a perfect tip. By the way, I've never heard that tip before. Has anybody else? I've never heard it. Has other people heard it? I've never heard that tip. Yeah. Oh, okay. Because to me, it's like, well, I wish I had heard of that before, because I'm going to use that one. Thank you very much, Luca. Appreciate you.
Of course. And also I signed up to Mike's newsletter.
Okay.
So.
Bravo. Yep. It's a good.
Sunday.
Yep,
Awesome.
he won't disappoint you. He will not disappoint you. And very good tip. I'll get right back to you in just a minute, Rich. One of the things I wanted to talk about was when we talk about nervousness and stage fright. One of the beautiful pieces of video I got to see way back in the day was of Johnny Carson. And it doesn't matter if you know Johnny Carson or not, but he was the late night show king before these other programs started. And it was his 21st year or 22nd year on the Johnny Carson show. And it was behind the scenes back before they did a lot of that. And it was behind the curtain. And he was going over his monologue the first few seconds. And he was so nervous. You could see his hands shaking. And it's stunning to see that from somebody that's been in the business so long. And it's 20 years down the road. And he still is doing that. And he's doing these breathing exercises and everything, because when he would go past the gold curtain and say, hello, good evening, he was so smooth and so calm. And it's just amazing to be able to see both sides of that. So thank you, Mike, for reminding us of those things, that as long as you have the techniques and the tips, you'll be able to get through it. Okay, Rich, what did you have for us?
It was just that I never even thought to run by you that inviting somebody like Luca, who's not specifically in the business world. So I just needed to make sure that that was actually okay. I trusted that it was a perfectly okay thing to do, but I realized I never checked in with Mama Bear.
Mama Bear says it's totally fine. I am, what was that? I am Hufflepuff. I am definitely the Hufflepuff house. Anybody that wants to show up is welcome. I don't have any prestige on that part of it. The thing is everybody has a story and everybody has some wisdom. And I think in this day and age, it's easily discounted. Like you think, and this is something I'm guilty of, I'd get ready to write a book. And as I was getting ready to write the book, I would make sure that I wouldn't study what anybody else had done, because I would then see the sheer volumes of work that other people had put forth. And I would then say to myself, and I knew this about myself, I would then say, they've already written about it. There's nothing new I can add, blah, blah, blah. Totally missing the point. The point being that if I was feeling inspired to write something, there was a reader out there that wanted to hear it from my point of view. Okay. And so I just want you guys to remind you of that. I'm so grateful Marc is sitting there nodding his head, because it's so true. If you're being inspired to do something, it is because there's a person asking somewhere else on the planet, and your particular point of view is what they need, not what's already out there. And so just wanted to share that with you. Okay. So, all righty. So then we have, who is next? Do we have, I think we've covered everybody's first tip or 1 minute tip. Did anybody have anything they wanted to add or have a question or a challenge? Go ahead, Crystal.
I've started your February challenge for me. I'm reaching out to people, and today I might have my first person to start my custom coaching launch, and I haven't worked on it yet until they say yes. So just wanted you to know. I
am so proud of you. This is a habit of Crystal's. I will build out a 15 module program. It'll have X and Y and Z and ABC2 and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how many people have bought it? Haven't even talked to my people about it yet. Is it something they want? And so I just wanted to say bravo and good job, because she's broken that habit and she is now all about, I'll get a client, then I'll start building the program. And for you, my dear Crystal, who also has that perfectionist thing going on, I salute you, because I know that that was challenging to get there to that place. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, in terms of Rich, when it came to referring Luca to you, Janine, I think he really just wanted to know the bare essentials.
I knew it. Thank you.
The other thing I'll also mention as well, because it does affect me, mental health, is that for me today is actually kind of a hard day. Not because Phil did not see a shadow, but my mom was born today, and it's my first birthday without her.
Right.
So Rich will know this. I'll be writing a yurtsite candle or memorial candle, and basically like saying like a seal with like a prayer for the dying. So so that to me is an interesting concept to, know it's my mom's birthday today, and I can't say happy birthday to her. So
Yep. We understand. For those of us who have had parents die, we understand exactly what it's like. There is a concept that I kind of sat there and went, oh my gosh, because my parents died young. And I remember standing there, and I'm now the oldest living member of my family at age 55. Okay. So oldest living member of my family. And it was really weird, because I was in my 40s when all this happened, to go, oh my God, I'm an orphan. And that really is what it feels like, where you're like, your mom's dead, your dad's died, and you're like, I'm an orphan. And having to kind of deal with that, because I don't know about anybody else. So I wasn't really given any kind of tools on how to handle that or how to deal with it. And so, first of all, Matt, thank you for sharing that with us, because some people think, oh, that's too heavy, I don't want to burden people. When in actuality, that's what community is for, is to share the burden and be able to realize that there are people there that want to support in whatever way we can, even if it is just a gift card so that you can go to the movies and forget about things for a while. Right? Anything else, Matt?
no, I mean, actually, I was just thinking of the Soundgarden song "Burden in My Hand," which is actually a good song too. So, but the one thing that I should tell people, because my mom died last year, my dad almost died twice last year. It's like life is too short to worry about people and their bullshit and what they're going to receive about you. For example, like, as you know about my woolly concubine. So it's a matter of not just being comfortable in your own skin, but I want to hear if anybody's deodorant's actually working, or you want to torture test it. I find that if you are vulnerable and people are not yet first, that when you put your guard down, that will also give people the green light to go ahead and be vulnerable too. So
thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. All right, we have 1 minute. Anybody want to do a wrap up with us here? No? All right, go ahead, Marc. You don't want to do the okay.
No, I'm just saying it good. That's
everybody's good. All
You're
right.
doing a great job at it.
You were voluntold.
Yes, I was. And Sean will be so happy about that, because as a den mother, he frequently got voluntold, didn't you? All right, we do practice nepotism here in the Open Friday Coffee. All right. Folks, this is Friday. This is February. Have a fabulous weekend. I will be out doing a winter walkabout in Longmont, because it is the Bluegrass Festival here in Colorado. So as I'm running around doing that, I'd like you to remember, one of the best ways to stay upbeat is to go to YouTube, type in the year that you graduated high school, and type in that music video series. It is amazing how I get to going, hey, I remember all this. It's a really easy way to boost your mood if you find yourself getting a little too serious over life. And remember, nothing in life is serious, because at the end of it, we all leave. All right, you guys have a fabulous day. Talk to you next week. Bye now.
Bye.